Hey guys, I've been leaving you guys out of the loop a little bit. It's going to be more work than I hoped. The current transmission cross member will not work. I wanted to show you guys real quick. I got under there, I realized when I mocked up that other Turbo 400 case, the ears have to be cut off of the Turbo 400 to work with the way the exhaust manifolds and everything run on that 4.8. So basically I just sawzalled both ears off of that Turbo 400. I want you guys to see that. Apologize for the wind. Just, of course, it starts getting windy when I wanted to make a little video. But I want to verify this is a brand new, fresh rebuild, 0 miles transmission, as it's supposed to be. So I'm currently emptying the fluid out of it so I can start pulling the pan. So far so good. Nothing but pure, clean, fresh, new ATF or transmission fluid came out of this thing. So now I'll try to get it finagled around where I can drop the pan, and if the pan is perfectly clean with no clutch dust, then we'll know that at least it should be a fresh rebuild. Other than checking the, bottom filter and stuff like that, which could easily be changed, all you can really do is just look up in the crevices of all the little areas of the transmission case to look for clutch dust and stuff that maybe they couldn't get cleaned out if they were, trying to slip one over on you. So hold up, see what we can find. Well, here's the first indicator that we may have been snookered a little bit. Pulled the dipstick tube out so I could roll it over to pull the pan. That's gray. That's gray, guys. Now, unless they put some anti-seize or something on this dipstick tube, that's not a good sign so far to get that kind of color off of a dipstick tube of a supposedly 0 miles fresh rebuild transmission. So let's continue our process of elimination and find out what we got here. Okay guys, I got her moved over from the tailgate to the ground. Note to self, Turbo 400s are pretty heavy. Lift with your legs, not your back. So let's get this pan pulled off. Okay, we got all the bolts that were there, because we're missing 2 for the shifter linkage. Got all the bolts pulled out. Now we're going to try to pry that pan loose, because apparently they were a big fan of silicone, and they have silicone the pan to the gasket and the gasket to the case. So that should be fun. All the way around. Alright, we got a little crackage. Let's see what we got. That would not be brand new. It could be low mileage. Say that would not be brand new. It doesn't look bad. Like, I'm gonna go ahead and run it, but that's definitely not a brand new 0 miles rebuild. See if you guys can see that. That, my friends, is another Craigslist special. Yeah, I'm gonna say that's not fresh. brand new rebuild. What's really interesting is up inside the case, where I told you guys, once you pull the pan and get the nitty-gritty over what's going on with your pan, look up inside the nooks and crevices of your case. A lot of times you can find, you know, leftover clutch dust where someone didn't wash the case good, or maybe it wasn't truly rebuilt. The case up inside of there looks really clean. I don't see any deposits of clutch dust or anything like that. But, you know, this thing has been used since it was rebuilt the last time, that's for sure. Okay guys, here's where we're at. I went through all of the, I'm gonna call it the debris or the dust in the bottom of the Turbo 400 pan with a magnet. Went through every part of that pan, found no magnetic chunks. I barely got any like dust whatsoever to stick only to the bottom or the strongest part of the magnet. I was able to clean up the entire pan only using 2 paper towels. But what I wanted to show you is one of the big contributing factors why you don't want to silicone your pan. You don't want to use silicone on your transmission pan, because inevitably you're going to have squish over, or you're going to have RTV silicone that gets pushed in towards the inside of the pan that can break loose and plug up your pickup filter. Now I've pulled out 6 of these little strands of silicone from around the edge of that pan, and there's a lot more that I could pull loose, but I just wanted you guys to see one of the main factors, if not the main factor, why you don't use silicone on your transmission pan. It's not because it'll make it leak. It's not because when it's wet and not set up that it can squish or push your gasket out, because that's another headache that you should know. But it actually can cause transmission failure if enough of these get out and get picked up in your pickup screen or filter. So alright, let's continue this investigative process to verify whether that thing has a shift kit or not in it. 2 things. You have to pull off the pickup filter, or the screen or the filter, to be able to see if the Turbo 400 valve body has been modified to be able to hold first gear. As far as I can tell by looking at the valve body, the check ball that would have had to have been installed in the 1-2 accumulator is not visible. Like the bleed hole is still open on the 1-2 accumulator piston in the outer portion of the valve body. So I would assume that that Turbo 400 does not have a shift improver kit that allows you to hold first gear. And as you can see from this used dirty filter, this is another piece of the pie that shows that that is definitely a used transmission. One good thing that you can see when you look through the windows of the filter is it's used, and it has clutch dirt or dust on the filter, but the filter itself has no chunks or anything big in it and isn't really that dirty. So I would be inclined to believe that this transmission has been rebuilt, but it was definitely used at least a little bit, you know what I mean? Based on the amount of clutch dust that was in there, I would not believe that it has been used very much, but it's definitely been driven. So I don't know, I'm not mad per se, I'm just a little bit disappointed. I moved inside the front of the garage to kind of get out of the wind for you guys. Like I was saying, I don't feel that I was ripped off because I paid a really low amount, you know, only $340 for this transmission plus a brand new in the box torque converter. So I can't cry foul as far as, you know, oh, I got ripped off, that guy just totally screwed me. Sorry, ripped me off. Parental guidance there. But I didn't get what I was told for sure. This is a good learning moment. This is a good chance for people to learn from my experience. Regardless of how credible someone is, regardless if, you know, they're a 30-year veteran of the armed forces and they're a lieutenant in the Green Berets and they're very up forth and honest with you, perhaps, and I believe this, at least 99.44%, this individual truly believed that this transmission was a fresh rebuild, 0 miles, okay? We spent enough time talking to him, looking at the transmission, checking the fluid, just looking at all the numbers and the cleanliness and the dipstick and different seals and all that junk, that we both felt that the seller was being 100% legitimate. Because we had an opportunity at his shop. Now keep in mind, it was like below 0 wind chill factors with no heat. But he offered to pull the pan off of this transmission before I bought it. Okay? Both Shane and I talked about it, you know, away from him, and decided that, you know, this guy is 100% truthful. He's not lying. Like, we did not get any indications that this guy was shady in any way. So we took his word for it, that it was a brand new 0 mile rebuild that ended up not being used in a GTO restoration because they decided to go with a 4-speed. It just goes to show you cannot alter your way of doing business. You can't go to a Craigslist ad, go look at a part, a car, or whatever it is. Set parameters in your mind. What do I need to check? What needs to be right before I pull the trigger? And if everything doesn't go as you planned, don't buy it. Don't invest in it. Don't waste your money. Don't even gamble on it. But basically, I don't feel I'm in danger. I feel, you know, from my experience working in, you know, lube places when I was 19, that there isn't enough clutch dust in that pan to make me worry that this thing's not going to work. Everything inside of it looks extremely clean. A little bit disappointed that it doesn't have the type of shift kit in it that would allow you to control the 1-2 shift or hold. But, you know, I can add a shift kit. That's not a major problem. I'll probably do it before I even put it in the car, because the thought of doing it laying on my back underneath the vehicle is absolutely a nightmare. Don't want to play that game. So I just wanted to share with you guys my findings of my Craigslist score. I still think with the current cost of rebuilding transmissions or buying transmissions through the speed shops, you know, insert purchase area here, $340 is still cheap for a good usable Turbo 400, short tail Turbo 400. So that is what I found when I started digging into my Turbo 400 score. It definitely was not a 0 mile rebuild, but I do believe it's been rebuilt, and I'm planning on using it. So anyway, that's what we found. I appreciate you guys watching. I have other videos that I'm trying to edit to get put up. Again, I haven't been putting up videos. I kind of took a few days off to get away from this stuff because it was kind of aggravating me, and I wanted to share what I found inside my Turbo 400. So thanks again for watching, guys. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff.